All right, everybody, welcome to Talking Taker episode number 25. We appreciate you joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. This is our exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling creation of all time. My name is Alex Doriot. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night here, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling compatriot, my best friend, Travis White. Travis, my man, I just want to jump right into this one, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Man, you're about to call me your wrestling buddy.
Oh, that would have made so much more sense. It would have been so much better.
Remember my sting when I had? Oh, you're breaking mine. No. Oh, WCW Bash and Brawlers.
The Bash and Brawlers. Oh,
yeah, man, we're on episode 25. Talking Taker has to get off their parents' insurance next episode. So,
watch out, everybody.
Buddy. Watch out.
Well, yeah, man. I've been excited for this matchup since we started the podcast. This is one of the ones I've been looking forward to the most. We have finally reached one of the Undertaker's most famous matchups of all time at SummerSlam '96, going up against Mankind in the Boiler Room Brawl. And, you know, like I said, when we started this, this is one of the ones I was looking forward to most towards covering, because I remember watching this back when I was young, but I don't think I've seen it in a really, really long time. And I remember having a really vivid memory of it, so I was excited to go back and rewatch it and see how it held up, see what I did remember, what I didn't remember, what I missed the first time. And, you know, we're going to talk about the build-up here for a minute, but it lived up to the hype for me. I thought I had a lot of fun watching this one.
Yeah, it was fun. It's interesting and a lot different than the rest of the matches we've had, but for a reason. But yeah, I think the last time I saw this match was, do you remember when they did like a Three Faces Foley VHS?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was that, 99 or something? I think the clips of this was on there. I think after that I went to Video to Go and rented this pay-per-view probably, or got it from you or something, and watched it. Because it's been probably, 17 years since I've seen this match, so it was fun to relive. And yeah, I mentioned in last week's episode how the story of The Undertaker has all been A New Hope from Star Wars, and now we're entering The Empire Strikes Back. You know, here's the big, oh no, like, you know, when it comes to The Undertaker's character, his story, you know, there's something, an act of betrayal, or something's going to happen here that's going to be mind-blowing. So,
oh, absolutely. An incredibly memorable match, an incredibly memorable moment after the match, and huge storyline shift for The Undertaker, his character, and for Mankind as well. So let's just get right into it, because there's so much to talk about.
Mankind, the character, and also Mankind as a whole, right?
Oh, true.
Just
absolutely.
all of us as inhabitants of this planet Earth, yes.
We were all moved by this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
this man, SummerSlam '96, August 18th, 1996, from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Man, the Gund Arena comes up a lot. I know that's where No Mercy '99 was, with the double ladder match. That's where, I believe that's where they simulcast the very last Nitro and Raw from, was the Gund Arena too. There are a lot of cool. Those are just two off the top of my head, but I just remember that the Gund Arena in Cleveland. Always jealous, man.
So a few good things have happened in Cleveland. Apparently, it's great for sports entertainment, but not for professional sports, I guess.
No, and also Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there.
Yeah, that's true. And Drew Carey.
The Miz? Is Miz from there?
Oh yeah, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler.
Oh yeah, that's
big Cleveland guys.
But yeah.
Anyway, this match, of course, you know, we've been hyping it up and building it up ever since the night after WrestleMania, and that's how much the WWF's been hyping it up. That's when the Mankind Undertaker feud started back in April of 1996, and it has weaved its way through our last 3 episodes as Undertaker's been sort of bouncing between this feud. It's really been a feud with Mankind, and Goldust has just kind of been a sidetrack, I guess, to extend the feud. But when we last left off at International Incident in your house, Mankind crawled up through the ring, as The Undertaker once did, to interfere in Undertaker's match with Goldust. And then Undertaker, we finally saw him getting a little bit of revenge, getting a little bit of payback as he came back through the ring on the other side, attacked Mankind, and we left off that pay-per-view with them feuding in the back, feuding in the boiler room of the arena, and the announcers saying they never knew how this feud would be maintained, how it could be contained in the ring or anything like that. And so we jump in to this next stage of the build with it just kind of being announced. I guess this is July 29th is what you said, Raw 170, I think it is, that The Undertaker is announced as he's going to face Mankind in the first ever Boiler Room Brawl match. And we don't know a lot about it, except that the match is going to start in the boiler room and it will end in the ring. And that's all the details we get at the very beginning. So
that's probably all they know, too.
Right, exactly.
They're probably like, we'll figure it out.
They haven't figured it out yet either. Yeah.
No.
So just add it to the list of memorable gimmick matches that The Undertaker's been a part of so far.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of them. But now he's going to have to enter, I guess this is Mankind's gimmick match. For once, Undertaker's going to have to enter into someone else's gimmick.
That's true. And as a 10-year-old, did you know what a boiler room was?
No idea.
Yeah, no, me neither. I would, like, what does that mean? So, but yeah, once they show it, you're like, oh, okay, it's just like a room with a bunch of, like, pipes and electrical units and stuff. Yeah,
the bowels of the arena, as Vince would like to say.
Exactly. But yeah, on that Raw, the 29th of July, they announced, that it's the match is happening at SummerSlam, and then there's a Coliseum home video exclusive, and it takes place immediately after In Your House International Incident, and it's a backstage promo. Mankind and Goldust is like laying, like he's posing for a calendar or something. He's laying on top of, he's like, well, yeah, exactly. He's laying on top of like some wooden like lockers or shelves or something, and Mankind is there, and Goldust is patting him on the head. I think Marlene is there too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's there.
But Goldust is petting Mankind, and Mankind keeps calling Goldust mommy.
That man is a very bad man, mommy. I can tolerate what he tried to do to me, but not when it comes to a maternal love. You see, Undertaker, mommy doesn't want you to hurt her anymore. And what mommy wants, her little boy provides.
And it's strange.
It's weird.
It feels like they were gonna kind of go down that route more, but then they kind of just dropped, later on in '96. So I don't know if, I don't know, whatever. But he keeps calling him mommy, and he bangs his head against those wooden lockers, and it's like, I mean, he legit banged his head like Goldberg used to. So it's a wonder he didn't knock himself out. But talk about commitment to the character, man. Just like Mark Cosplay and Undertaker. I mean, Mick Foley is Mankind, But yeah, it's just, he just talks about how he's going to beat the Undertaker, and he's glad to, finally get his hands on him again, I guess. So it's just strange. Goldust petting him and calling him mommy. It's weird.
It was weird, and that was. I mean, they never really fully explored the Goldust Mankind relationship. Yeah. Just kind of a strange alliance. I feel like they probably had some more ideas, but I guess Vince, ultimately making the call, didn't really like it or didn't like the way it was going, so they dropped a lot of it. It feels like.
Yeah.
This little segment reminded me. You remember when we were covering Survivor Series 91, and right after Undertaker won the title at the end of that show, or the beginning of Tuesday in Texas, they have Undertaker's promo. He's down like in the, I don't know if he's in the boiler room, but he's like in the corners of the arena, bottom of the arena or something like that, cutting a promo on Hulk Hogan. True. So it felt very, very similar vibe of that to me.
That was very true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's the vibe I got.
Who knows? We'll give him credit for it.
Well, the next week on Raw, or is this the same?
Oh, hold on one second. Yeah, this is when this same episode of Raw is Undertaker and Steve Austin again in the main event. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. And I just want to say there's a lot more aggression from Undertaker. I mean, just like as we've been talking, this whole Mankind feud, he's had a lot more aggression. He's more human. Again, same thing here. More facials. He's not just staring at people, and he's grimacing. He's not smiling, but he's making more facials. Than if you go back and watch his 1991, 1992 matches, he was just kind of stoic and just would stare at his opponents. But here against Austin, he is, getting down and dirty, man, and pounding away on him, and it's a good match.
I could do a whole podcast on this match. This match was awesome.
It's awesome.
I really enjoyed it.
And how comfortable is Steve Austin with the Stone Cold character here?
That's the thing. Like, I feel like he has gained so much more confidence just in this past month since the last time they did this match on Raw. And it's just a better match. They do a lot of great stuff in it. I encourage you to go back and watch it. Listeners, watch this match, SummerSlam 96, but go back and watch this match. It's worth your while, especially to see these guys so young and Stone Cold moving around, bouncing around, bumping around like crazy. And you will see...
Yeah, he's a bump machine.
Yeah, you'll see his tights that have... That's the only time I've ever seen his tights with his logo on the butt of them. Usually he's just wearing the plain black tights, but he's got the Stone Cold logo on there, and he must have decided he didn't really like that really quickly because they get ditched after this set of tapings. I think he wears them in the Battle Royal the next week too, but that's probably the same day. They were taping that.
It was the same, 4 nights of tape, or 1 night for 4 weeks of Raw tapings, but But yeah, it's a good match. It's fun. It's fun, like you said, see these guys so young in their careers battling, because we'll see them, again in the future when Stone Cold is fully developed and he's on top of the world. But man, how about the end of this match? The top rope choke slam from Undertaker and Steve Austin. Can you imagine Stone Cold taking that move 2 years later?
Oh
no way.
Yeah, not a chance.
But in July of '96, Stone Cold Steve Austin takes a top rope choke slam from the Undertaker. And this is when Mankind comes out, like, to the entranceway, and Undertaker just kind of bails on the match and goes to chase him and gets counted out and loses. So, again, Mankind's got his number, Undertaker keeps losing, whether it's a casket match or count-out victories or DQs or whatever, he's still losing because he's always distracted by Mankind.
And I was okay with that. There's so many distraction finishes nowadays in the current product. It's just ridiculous. But this one, it made sense because Mankind has been continually getting the best of the Undertaker, and so they've had this feud drawn out for so many months, and Undertaker is never able to get his hands on Mankind. So Mankind comes out, and they've just had this long-standing feud. So he runs out to attack Mankind. He doesn't just stand there looking at him, pointing at him, and gets rolled up or anything like that. No, he goes after Mankind, who he's feuding with, and he gets counted out, and it makes sense. And what's even better is he comes right back to the ring and beats up Stone Cold right afterward because he's pissed off that he lost. So he doesn't just lose and just like shrug his shoulders. He comes out and he gets his revenge on Stone Cold. This was, if you're gonna do a distraction finish, this is how you do it.
Awesome. Yeah, he's not left with egg on his face. He's not the idiot baby face that got rolled up or got counted out on accident. Yes. Yeah, he's like, well, forget you. I'm coming back in and he tombstone Stone Cold. Really good tombstone. Yeah. I mean, man, it was real close to the head of the mat. Yeah, he laid it in good. But I thought it was a funny little exclamation point on the end of that match there. He gets his stuff in. So
then the next week, Raw 171, I think this is on the network. The main event is a big battle royal to see who's gonna get a WWF Championship shot the night after SummerSlam, and I think it's 10 guys in it, something like that.
We got Savio Vega, Stone Cold, Bradshaw, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, I guess at this point, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, Mankind, Ahmed Johnson, Goldust, Psycho Sid, and the last person out is The Undertaker.
What a lineup right there.
Yeah, man. That's a who's who of future superstars, past superstars, and some
Hall of Famers
no one ever cares about. Yeah.
Well, they hype up the whole time that the Undertaker's going to be in there in this battle royal, and like you said, all the guys come out, and then Undertaker runs out to the ring. I don't think I've ever seen the Undertaker run in my entire life, but he runs down the entryway because he's about to get his hands on Mankind, and he runs in the ring and clotheslines himself and Mankind immediately out of the Battle Royal that they've been hyping him in for the entire show. I was just like, oh my gosh. I thought at first, and that's an easy paycheck right there. Just come out for the 20 seconds of the main event. But they end up having a little bit more action throughout the match.
Yeah, but it goes to show, too, going from the last week on Raw, Undertaker doesn't care about the wins and losses. He wants to get his hands on Mankind. He's like, forget the WWF Championship match. I want to get my hands on Mankind. So, yeah, you're right. He clotheslines him over the top. They're both eliminated immediately. But yeah, then throughout the night, the rest of the match, because this match is probably 35, 40 minutes. Yeah, it's most of the show. But the camera kind of cuts away, and at one point, about halfway through, they're fighting in the crowd. Mm-hmm. They come out through the crowd, they're fighting, Mankind and Undertaker are, and they make it back into the ring, which is pretty cool. And then they go from the ring back up the entranceway or to the backstage area, and then, go to commercial break, come back, and it has more footage of them brawling backstage, and the Undertaker's hitting him with wooden pallets, and it was like a body slam, like sheet metal or something.
Yeah.
it looked awful. I mean, awful as in good, but like awfully painful.
Right.
Yeah. But he's doing work on Mankind. He's choking him, he's beating him up. Like I said, he's got this new aggression, and man, I'm getting hyped just talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so exciting to see.
This is, without a doubt, the most intense feud that we've seen The Undertaker in, and they're building it up. Like, these guys cannot be contained in the ring. They're fighting all over the place, and so there needs to be something special to settle their feud. This is how you build up a gimmick match. This is why you have a gimmick match, not just because, it's October, we got to do Hell in a Cell, or it's February, we got to do Elimination Chamber. No, there's a reason why these guys are having this special match that you want to tune in to see, and I love it.
Yeah. And once again, let's go back to Triple H and Randy Orton, 2009 WrestleMania. We're not going to start the match with a collar and elbow tie-up.
Yeah.
These guys can't stand each other, They're beating each other from pillar to post, as JR would say.
Yep.
So, yeah. And for those of you who care, Ahmed Johnson wins the Battle Royal, by the way. He and his right butt cheek have been hanging out for about 40 minutes. And so don't go back and watch that part. But
no, not necessarily.
Poor Ahmed, man. They had some big plans for him, and they pretty much all went south at this set of tapings. So,
dude, I loved Ahmed Johnson when I was a kid, man. He was just so intense, and I didn't understand a word he was saying, but I was into it, man. I wanted to see him beat people up, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's bad, really bad luck, man. A lot of bad injuries. I hate it.
He had a good run of bad luck, to say.
Clint Black. Oh, man. The Man in Black.
How'd he recover?
Clint Black,
yeah. All right, so the next week on Raw, there's no action, but there's a really cool video recapping this feud. Again, building since April 1st, night after WrestleMania. And my only nitpick about this, I think Todd Pettingill's narrating it, and he says, it's been building for 5 months. I'm like, well, no, it hasn't. 4 months and 11 days at this point. But anyway, this kind of thing.
Way up.
Yeah, he rounded up 20 days. So, but it's a really cool video, just recapping everything and talking about, they just can't help but fight, and they can't coexist in the same area. And again, it just shows the great intensity and fire that both of them have had throughout this whole entire 4-month build-up.
They're different, yet hauntingly similar, unearthly, bizarre. The light in the realm of darkness, darkness in the province of light, bound by a past that still exhales its wretched breath on the present. They can't coexist. They can never rest in peace. They can only fight and fight till death do them part. God have mercy.
Pretty cool.
Man, I don't know how you can say there's no action on this episode of Raw, because also on this episode of Raw we had the Godwins, managed by Hillbilly Jim, taking on TL Hopper and Who, with Bob Backlund on commentary. Yeah, that's a real match that happened on Monday Night Raw.
I rest my case. Yeah. I said there was no action on Raw.
I just want to put that out there. That's a real thing that happened on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Anyway.
Can you imagine? That was up against Nitro. What? You know what? I do know something about this episode of Raw. It was the lowest rated Raw at the time. this Raw of August 12th. I believe I looked it up several times, several different sources, and that's what I got. So this was the lowest rated Raw, and that match you just described may explain it.
It could be.
So yeah, again, at the time this was the lowest rate. I think it was a 2.0, which is pretty low.
Pretty low. Well,
yeah,
business is about to pick up here. SummerSlam '96. Thank God.
no doubt. Yeah.
There's a reason we're not doing a Talking Who podcast.
Now we could do like the Who,
Talking
the Rock
Who.
and Roll Band,
Yeah.
but not Talking Who, WWF edition.
Goodness gracious. So SummerSlam '96, the main event of our podcast. Not the main event of the show, but it's one of the top 2 matches. If you watch the opening video package, it's about
cool
Shawn
video.
Michaels and Vader. Yeah, very cool video. And this. So they're going back and forth talking about The Undertaker is a mysterious light in a world of darkness, and how good doesn't always triumph over evil. Sometimes the horror lives on. So they're just talking about these 2 different kind of monsters, Vader and Mankind. These 2 different monsters, very different. Well, one is sadistic, one is just big and bad, and then you've got 2 different types of heroes. You've got the underdog and Shawn Michaels, and then you've got the great almighty light of the WWF, the moral compass of the WWF, the Undertaker, trying to overcome this sadistic Mankind. Very cool video.
Yeah, it was a neat video, man, and I love that this Mankind Undertaker feud is got a spotlight on it.
Yes,
it's really cool. So because it's definitely, it's more interesting to me than the Shawn Michaels Vader stuff going on. Although this Shawn Michaels Vader match is the one where Shawn kicks him in the head like 3 times.
Yeah, throws a hissy fit.
He throws a hissy fit and gets all bent out of shape. No wonder the crowd turned on Shawn shortly after this.
But again, it just goes to show you the Undertaker's position in the company, the confidence in him that they've been building this feud up for so long. He's had such a big, long feud, and it's getting that prominent placement as one of the top 2, like on equal footing with the WWF Championship is the Undertaker's match here at SummerSlam. So, again, we're talking about the evolution of the Undertaker, and that just goes to show you right there where he's at.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, aside from a few matches we've had undercard wise, he's always a featured match, man. Doesn't matter who his feud is against. It's awesome.
Yep.
Unless it's who. Thank God we don't have that. Who?
Now they say excuse me. So. Yeah, before the match, there's another video package. Was this the same one that was on Raw, or was this a different one?
It's a little bit different.
A little bit different. It's got Todd Pettengill narrating this one too, just going through all the many different phases of the feud. But he makes a point, like you said earlier, that this match transcends titles. It can only be contained in the Boiler Room. It's not about a belt. It's just a personal rivalry between these 2 guys. So that was a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we hadn't seen something like this in a long time. It's been really refreshing to go back and watch this, this set of this rivalry or feud, whatever they call it. So, I guess they call them rivalries nowadays, don't they? They don't call them feuds. So, that's one of Vince McMahon's words.
I guess.
So, but it's pretty cool. It's a semi-main event. We got commentary is Vince McMahon, good old JR, and Mr. Perfect back here for commentary. So
back on commentary, and yet we've talked about commentary a lot throughout this podcast, but here it doesn't play as much of a role. It was kind of cool. Right. That's one of the big things of this match is that commentary kind of lays out for the majority of the match, and it was an interesting choice. They don't hardly say anything except a few just kind of grunts and moans and like gasps and things like that.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was different, It's neat. I can't imagine them getting away with that nowadays because the crowd would just crap all over it and boo the whole time or whatever. But like for the time, it was really neat to go watch this match and trying to put myself in 1996 and see, man, they're really laying out. Because now, like I said, nowadays it's not Michael Cole's fault, but he'd be talking all over the action. What's going on and. Corey Graves and Byron Saxton will be arguing for the whole entire match, but it's really cool. I think it shows respect to Undertaker and Mankind. I may be looking way too far into that, but it shows how much they respect him, and this feud they're going to let the match just highlight it itself. You know, they don't need to add the story to it. The story is playing out right in front of your eyes. You know,
right? It just gives it a totally different feel because this is not a wrestling match. You know, there's no moves in it. There's no suplexes or pile drivers or body slams. I mean, there might have been like 1 or 2 body slams. I don't know. I don't totally remember. Maybe look at my notes.
I think there is a pile driver. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah,
but it's not your typical wrestling match. It's like it's sort of a prototype for the hardcore matches that we saw, I mean, and even that we continue to see. And it's fought almost completely backstage, using these weapons in a way that we've just never ever seen on WWF TV before. So it's a completely different vibe, a completely different look, and they're setting it apart by not having any commentary for it as something different and something that you have to pay attention to. You can't look away from it. You can't tweet during it. You can't be on your computer during it. You can't be on the phone during it. You got to pay attention because the announcers are watching every bit of it. They're not describing it to you, so you have to watch it with your own eyes. So it draws you in.
Yeah. And to someone like who's maybe a new fan, like or a younger person, they might go back and watch this and think it sucks because there's no commentary telling them, you know. But like to you and I, it's really cool. And I hope to a lot of our fans that are maybe our age or a little older, they probably were like, yeah, it's a cool thing, you know, not to have the commentary stepping all over everybody's lines and moves, you know, because it did make you pay attention. You know, you can't have it on in the background. You know, you got to actually pay attention. So. Cool stuff, but you want to get into how the match starts and everything? So
we hear the Undertaker's music playing, and of course Undertaker does not make an entrance into the arena, but Paul Bearer does, carrying the urn, and this is where we finally hear kind of the rules of the match that Vince McMahon informs us of. He tells us that the winner must emerge from the boiler room, enter the arena, and take possession of the urn at ringside. So the whole point of the match is getting to Paul Bearer and getting the urn. So again, like
it's like a ladder match,
sort of, yeah. And
not
Paul
really.
Bearer, you got to climb Paul Bearer.
Yeah, Judy Bagwell on a pole, Paul Bearer in a ring match, basically. Yeah. You got to get out of the boiler. In all seriousness, you fight in the boiler room. You got to get out of the boiler room, get to the ring, and get the urn from Paul Bearer. Right. And that is, it's capture the flag. You got to get that, and the winner is the one who retrieves the urn. And that's of course, the key. You have to retrieve the urn.
Yes, that plays a huge role into what's happening. And I think, like you said earlier, they didn't quite understand what the match was going to be when they first started conceiving it and announcing it. But this makes a lot of sense once we get to the end and understand what this match is really building to and leading to.
Right.
So,
because it may seem kind of stupid, if you don't know where it's headed. But like, again, we have the benefit of this being 22 years ago almost at this point. So. To see the stories being told, but JR is putting over how grueling this match is going to be. He keeps saying it's going to be like what's he keep saying, a bar fight or
prison fight. He says prison fight.
Prison fight.
I think he's a big Oz fan. JR
was this on TV?
He's talking about prison fights. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. But they mentioned on commentary that the free for all and Paul Bearer's words to Undertaker on the free-for-all, which, again, those listeners, if you don't remember, the Big D explained it on our last podcast, or one of our previous podcasts. It was on the preview channel. It was a half hour before the pay-per-view came
30
on?
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, 30 minutes. And it was basically what the pre-shows are now on the network. And it would usually give you a free match and just kind of some build-up. But anyway, I was able to find the free-for-all on a website online. And basically, during the free-for-all, the Undertaker and Paul Bearer are interviewed in the ring by Jim Ross. And Paul Bearer just addresses the Undertaker. He assures him that the integrity of the urn will not be compromised. He says it several times,
Undertaker! I want you to be confident that the urn will be safe in my hands. While you take care of mankind in the bowels of this building, the integrity of this sacred vessel will not be compromised. And that's a promise.
They didn't tip their hat to
Right.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it is like, again, we
Beating
talked
you over
about
the
this
head with
already.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, is aversion to subtlety. But this was very subtle, so it was cool. But anyway, at this point, with Paul Bear's in the ring, at SummerSlam, and we cut the camera to the back, and backstage, the Undertaker is approaching the Boiler Room.
Yes, and he's
the cameras.
got no robe, no hat, none of the entrance gear, no accoutrements. He is just, ready for a fight. And so that's a huge difference than we've seen in literally every other Undertaker match. Paul Bear is not taking off his garments, entrance wear and all that, getting him prepared. He's already ready for the fight. And it's really for the first time, like I said earlier, he has invited so many people into his elements in casket matches, body bag matches, the Rest in Peace match with Giant Gonzalez, whatever the heck that was.
Rest in Peach match in Atlanta.
Oh, we should have done that. He has brought so many people onto his level, and for the first time, he is having to walk onto someone else's playing field, and they have invited him into their mind games, and so
yard
into their yard, yeah. So he kind of hesitates a little bit as he's opening the door to the Boiler Room. So that's the first time we've ever seen anything like that from Undertaker too. The tables have turned.
Well, luckily, the Boiler Room was very well labeled. The sign says Boiler Room, danger. It's just again, there's that aversion to subtlety that Vince McMahon has. But it is cool. Yeah, you're right. He's apprehensive, to use a Vince McMahon word. He's very apprehensive to go. He goes in, but he's kind of looking around and lurking, and seems a little timid at first. Not that he's scared of Mankind, but doesn't know where he's going to pop up from. Because the commentary tells us that apparently Mankind's already inside. So.
Here's my question. I want to know, they came up with the idea for this Boiler Room match. Did they scout out boiler rooms at different arenas to figure out? Because, I don't know much about boiler rooms, but I imagine some of them might be really small. But, this one at this arena, how far in advance did they know they were going to be at this particular boiler room?
Right.
Did they pick that one for space where they could go fight there? Did they actually record this match in the Gund Arena boiler room, or did they have to go somewhere else? Because you got to think it seemed like they had a lot of room to move around and do stuff in this particular room, but they could have gotten to an arena and be like, oh crap, we got a boiler room match. There's we can't get in their boiler room. They're not going to let us in there. I don't know, man. I had a lot of questions about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever heard the story of how that worked out, how they planned out where and how they were going to do this match.
Well, I was wondering if this was a pre-tape from a different show or something, kind of like the Hollywood Backlot Brawl was, with Goldust and
I'm sure it was pre-taped,
Piper.
but I don't know if it was pre-taped there.
You know what? I think it might have been, because later on, as we see the other superstars or wrestlers in the hallway, and then I was paying attention to the markings on Mankind's body, or on his outfit, and it seemed to line up with the way he looked when he came out to the arena. So I think they may not have filmed it. It may not have been live. They may have filmed it earlier, but it seemed like the dirt and dust on his brown outfit matched up when he came out. So I do think it was at the Gund Arena, but I don't know. That'd be something interesting to find out from Bruce Pritchard or something.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think they talked about. They've done this episode on Something to Wrestle. I don't think they talked about that specifically. But I was just wondering that as the match was happening.
Also, this is off the top of my head. If Undertaker walks in the boiler room, why couldn't he just walk right out and slam the door and run to the ring?
Yeah, they don't have to make contact. Just have to go in the boiler room and head out. Yeah.
Exactly. He could have just slammed the door and barricaded it with a chair, and then ran to the ring and got the urn. Oh, man. No, but again, he wants to get his hands on Mankind.
Yeah.
So.
And Mankind finally emerges from hide and seek after a few minutes as they build up the tension, and he just got a giant PVC pipe when you just wax the Undertaker with it to start the action. And it's just the early parts is a lot of weapon shots, kind of back and forth between the guys, uppercuts, headbutts. Undertaker uses a trash can lid and my favorite spot of the beginning is Mankind kind of hits a stunner on one of those little just carpentry
Sawhorse, yeah.
Sawhorse, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the. I knew it had horse in it. I couldn't remember
Yeah.
the full name of it, but that was awesome. I love that.
Yeah, he finally gets kind of in control after that. Yeah, he gets a stunner over the Sawhorse, which is pretty cool. So I wrote that. My only gripe with this is that there's a lot of machinery, like literally in a boiler room. Like machinery is loud, so you can't. It almost nowadays they probably had a boom mic, over them, and so or they had them mic'd up so you could hear everything that was going on. But
yeah,
it's a little bit. They're off in the distance.
It's a little dark.
Their vocals.
Poorly
Yeah,
lit.
a little dark.
And I think
But
there's only one camera the whole time.
Yeah.
Only one camera shot. So that was kind of cool. Added to the realism
Yeah.
of it. It's not like this stuff they do now with Braun Strowman, like where he's lifting up the trucks and everything, and all these different camera cuts and all that stuff, and it just looks so fake. I mean, we all know he's not lifting up an 18-wheeler, and you're shooting it from all these different angles. Or like when
the House of Horrors match. Okay, let's go back to that. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
So
if they'd have done that
overproduced.
if they'd done it in one take, it may have been more realistic. But they had all the cuts and this and that. But like this match is one long cut. There's no camera breaks. Now the quote unquote feed goes in and out a little bit, but when it comes back up, it's exactly where it left off. It's not, the camera's not in a different position or anything. Right. So it's really cool. This was all one take, basically. And luckily, the cameraman has a giant spotlight on his camera, I guess. 'Cause otherwise, these guys couldn't have seen anything. But, yeah. But after that stunner on the Sawhorse, as I mentioned, the feed goes out. The television feed goes out. It's kind of fuzzy and grainy and almost like Scramble Vision you were talking about watching pay-per-views through at your aunt's house.
Right.
Yeah. So
and I guess that's
they're
editing something. Yeah, they're taking a break, taking a cut, setting something up. So kind of interesting way to cover for that.
Yeah. It's cool. And then there's more smashing into pipes and doors and trash cans, and Taker kind of gets a hope spot here. But Mankind cuts him off, and he turns on this like mechanical wheel and sprays.
Turns the steam on him.
I guess.
That was
it puts
great.
the steam on. It was awesome because he just turns this mechanical wheel, all the steam blows out in Undertaker's face, and looked pretty cool, man.
It was cool. Fun spot. I don't know how they did that or how they made that work, because I mean it looks like a machine that's actually part of there, and steam shoots out of it. I mean, I don't know. Interesting spot. And it just feels like a fight the whole time.
Yeah.
These guys just beat. I mean, they're really hurting each other. It looks like some wicked weapon shots.
Yeah, and I wrote right here that just commentary's laying out big time. Like we already mentioned, there's nothing. They're not adding their 2 cents, and it makes it feel more like you're watching, like you're a fly on the wall watching these guys beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
So
Mankind crotches Undertaker with a PVC pipe, and that got a pretty big gasp out of the crowd. We haven't heard the crowd making much noise, but that got a big gasp out of the crowd. And then we hear the crowd clapping for Undertaker, and I was thinking that's just got to be Paul Bearer in the ring, kind of conducting them. Yeah. Probably we don't see it, but we hear them starting to chant and clap for him. You just know he's out there one last time conducting him for the Undertaker.
Mr. Bear's Opus, man, out there doing his thing. So, and this is where Mankind throws. This is classic backstage WWF fight. You got to throw somebody into the giant garage door, right?
Yeah, sure.
Every arena that has a garage door, somebody gets thrown into it. So, and then he does that running knee into the garage door, which is really cool. And he's, I just want to mention he's constantly squealing and making noises and making all these just, unintelligible sounds coming from his mouth. So, but I do want to have something I want to ask you is why not hit the mandible claw?
Good question. Yeah.
It's put Undertaker out literally every time he's done it from this point. So why did he not just do it right here?
I don't know. I guess he just couldn't get it on. Like I don't know. He wanted to beat him up some more, maybe. I don't know. That is a good question. That's a good point. He's doing some other crazy stuff, and
here we go.
There's another big edit with the Scramble Vision, and The crowd boos it this time when they see it.
Yeah.
The crowd is watching, as we later find out, on the TVs your teacher would roll in to class when they would show a video when you're in elementary school on just like the big metal carts. Just like a big...
The TV just like strapped on the metal cart
Yeah.
with the VHS with a laser disc player on it. Yeah.
There's like 4 of those sitting around ringside, and there is a big screen in the back, but a lot of the fans are just watching on these tiny little TVs. We don't have the giant Titantron that we have now and the LED screens on the side of the ring.
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
hilarious looking back at. But
we'll
anyway,
mention, right before the feed goes out, that's when Mankind climbs up a little bit of that ladder and he drops the elbow on the concrete.
yeah,
The first time he does that.
yeah,
And then he drags Undertaker after he breaks a 2x4 on him. He breaks it on him. It's crazy. But I just wrote that Taker is selling massively again. He's such a good seller.
he's fighting
man.
for his life.
He's awesome, especially for a big guy, But then that's when the feed goes out again, and then the crowd boos. Like at this point they're watching on those tiny TVs.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious, bro? Come on.
And the feed goes out this time to set up kind of the big spot that I think everyone remembers from this match, where Undertaker is down, but Mankind is up on top of a ladder, propped against the wall, and then Taker sits up and pulls the ladder down, and Mankind goes tumbling onto the ground. He's protected a little bit by a box and some pipes over there, but not much protection. It's a crazy bump. Obviously Mankind would take a couple crazier bumps later on, but this was pretty crazy already. Crazy enough for sure.
Yeah.
And
they'd have a crash pad there now or something, or again the camera would cut away right before he hits or something. But man, it was brutal.
Yeah,
it hurts me. It hurts my hips watching him fall like that.
You can't protect it too much. I think they protect him a little bit with the boxes, but still, I mean, that's a wicked bump. And
then he gets thrown into some glass light bulbs or something after this. That's what JR says. He's like, he's got thrown in the glass. It looked like a box of light bulbs to me, but that's where that dust gets all over his body. I think so. I think it is light bulbs. So they pop and they have the like that dust inside of them and stuff. So anyway, but
Taker's got a pretty glass. Yeah. Taker got cut up on something. He's got a pretty good gash on his elbow. Pretty nasty looking. And that spot, the elbow spot into the boxes, that's kind of the big
that's the highlight.
Crescendo, the highlight, because now we're headed towards the finish, sort of. They start heading towards the exit, both of them trying to fight out of it, going back and forth. And here we see Undertaker using a fire extinguisher. Opening that up on Mankind. Nothing like a real
That's
fire
wrestling
extinguisher.
101, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see a fire extinguisher in a wrestling match, it's going to be used. So, have I ever had to use one? No, I never have.
Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah, and it's not just like smoke like these. It's like this is foam that comes out and it's yellow and gross and smells and it's terrible. Yeah. Anyway. So even though he's able to do that, Mankind is able to escape first into the arena hallway and tries to barricade the door and lock the Undertaker in. And the refs are very upset that Mankind is barricading the wall. They keep yelling out, "You can't do that! You can't do that!" It's like, what are the rules? Why can't he do that?
Exactly. Remind me of that referee in that Wrestle Kingdom match with Omega and Jericho. Jericho just pushes him down. It's like, are you kidding me? No rules. So we see. Well, like you keep talking about Undertaker. He's like this movie monster, and this kind of gives him that feel, again, because he's kind of reaching out through the doorway, almost like The Shining, like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Like he's kind of creeping his head out, and Mankind kind of slams the door back in his face, and again he has everything barricaded. But then we see, we got a new camera angle, and we see the Undertaker just smash through the door, and stuff goes everywhere, man. And the crowd, you can hear the crowd, and they're popped.
They're into it, man. Yeah.
The tiny little televisions can show them what's happening. Yeah, they love this.
And the Job Squad watching backstage is real into it too. And we see all the
Tony's backstage cheering on Taker.
All the chumps back there. But then you've also got I thought this was interesting. You got Stone Cold and Goldust back there watching, kind of cheering on, and I mean, they should have jumped into it, man. We've seen both of those guys with Undertaker. Why are they just sitting around watching? Why don't they get in and help Mankind? I thought that was kind of a mess up right there. Missed opportunity, I guess.
I thought the same thing, man. Yeah, but yeah, all those J-Browns back there, man, and Job Squad just cheering them on and loving it, so it's good. But yeah, they're working their way to the hallway, hitting each other with catering carts and tables, and then Mankind goes around the corner. He grabs this big old black suitcase, and Vince McMahon immediately is like, "That's scalding hot coffee. That's scalding hot coffee. He's got scalding hot coffee." And of course, Undertaker comes around the corner, and Mankind surprises him and hits him with this giant suitcase full of, or dispenser rather, full of scalding hot coffee. So yeah. Burned him, what a ruthless move.
Yeah, seriously, man, he could have killed him right there. Third-degree burns, dude.
I know.
Didn't Kane get coffee spilled on him too? Wasn't that his feud with Chris Jericho?
Jericho. Yeah, King Jericho feuded in 2000 over coffee. So something about those brothers of destruction.
Runs in the family, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
blood runs cold.
Even hot coffee is not enough to finish the Undertaker, but. Mankind is able to come out into the arena first, but Undertaker catches right up with him and clotheslines him, hits him with a 2x4, and they fight their way towards the ring.
Yeah, headbutts again from Undertaker right here, just like we mentioned in last episode too. Just headbutts and knees, man, coming from it's good. It's like the MMA style. It's awesome.
Yes, very realistic. And this was also realistic. Mankind tries to pick up one of those TVs by the ring, and he can't quite pick it up, man. And if you've ever tried to pick up one of those old box TVs and try to pick those up
man.
when you're trying to move or something, golly, it's one of the hardest things in the world to pick up. And Mankind's just been through a 20-minute match. He can't pick it up, man.
Last time I tried to lift one of those, the right side of my body went numb after I put it down. It was that's a straight shoot, brother, right there. I couldn't feel my right side of my body. Those things are so heavy.
You and Mankind.
Yeah. And then, but Paul Bearer, again, he has stayed true. He's in the ring. He's the integrity of the urn has not been compromised at this point. So he is in the urn. And the Undertaker tries to get in the ring first, and Mankind stops him. And then he does a classic Mankind move. He rips up the mats along the side of the outside of the ring, and he exposes the concrete floor. And then he hits the wedgie pile driver on the concrete. That move hurts me to watch.
I miss when people used to lift up the mats. And it's just a classic old school wrestling thing. I don't know why nobody ever does that anymore. Razor Ramon used to always do it too. Man, I just love that. It was cool
he did it in that 1-2-3 Kid match when 1-2-3 Kid face plants.
Well, talk about face plant. Man, they get up on the apron. Not quite a face plant, but both guys are standing on the apron trying to get in the ring, and Taker shakes the ropes and bounces Mankind onto the floor, and it was just this awful splat. I don't know if it was his back or his head or whatever, but God, I mean, that had to hurt too. I mean, Mankind was just taking a beating.
Yeah. Again, as somebody who deals with back issues myself, watching him take that bump, oh my goodness, I could not believe that he did that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's loud.
Yes.
It's just his body just hitting the concrete floor. But, I mean, it looks great, but again, and 10-year-old me was probably like, woohoo! But 31-year-old me is like, good Lord, man.
Don't do that. You don't have to do that.
Exactly. You're already over, man. You're already over. You don't have to do that move. So, yeah, but it's horrendous. I just wrote horrendous. It's awful. Man. So this point, Mankind is just flat back bumps from the apron straight to the concrete floor, and the Undertaker gets in the ring, and this is really iconic here. It's really, again, this is the Empire Strikes Back moment. He's down on one knee, and he's got his hand up in that classic Undertaker pose, and Paul Bearer kind of looks at him, and then he just kind of turns around, and he doesn't give him the urn, and
turns his back on the Undertaker.
Yeah, literally turns his back on him. I think at this point the crowd realizes, like, what? Like why? It's been 6 years almost, you guys being together. Like, what happened? So, yeah, really cool. Like you said, he literally turns his back on him. So,
yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking, man. We've seen Undertaker and Paul Bearer's relationship this whole time over the past 6 years of watching these matches, and they've had just this incredible partnership, and all of a sudden, just like that, it's over. Paul Bearer turns his back on the Undertaker for seemingly no reason, and Mankind jumps in the ring, hits the mandible claw that you was wondering why he hadn't hit earlier, and locks it in, and Bearer starts laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
He pulls out his handkerchief and starts polishing the urn up, which was just a great heel move right there.
Oh,
we forget Paul Bearer started off as a heel. Man, him and Undertaker were heels at first. Paul Bearer was a great heel manager, and he's getting to bring that back out again. But
and the crowd's booing heavily at this point. It's sinking in now, just what's happening. And they're booing real heavily.
But before Mankind get the urn, he does the Undertaker kneel, but Undertaker sits up. But Mankind gets the claw on him again, and Bearer slaps the Undertaker. Even though Undertaker's crawling to Paul Bearer again, and here's just the heartbreaking moment of all. Paul Bearer lifts up the urn over his head, holds it up for a minute, and then just smashes it on top of the Undertaker's head before handing it over to Mankind, who snatches it away and wins the Boiler Room Brawl. And apparently has won over Paul Bearer as well. Just, shocking moment. It's hard to really put into words how shocking this was back in 1996 to see this partnership break up. Something you would never think was possibly in the works. I know they kind of teased it a little bit going back and watching the pay-per-views now. They do tease it a little bit the months before, and like you said, in the free-for-all, with hindsight, you can tell that they're building towards something, but this was just unbelievable back then.
And man, to watch Paul Bearer slap Undertaker in the face, I think that was the biggest thing. The only thing worse he could have done was literally spit on him, but he slaps him and he's stomping him, and again the crowd is just booing, because again they don't understand. And it's funny how this kind of parallels. I mean, it's not as big as Hulk Hogan becoming Hollywood Hogan in the NWO, but that just happened a month before this, so it's kind of neat. I'm sure WWF was already headed this way with this story, it seems, if you go back in the timeline. But again, it's kind of neat to see, well, here on WCW they did that, and WWF they've got this. It won't have quite as big an impact on the whole wrestling world, but to Undertaker fans and to the Undertaker story that is being told here, it definitely does. It's a huge moment, and this match is 6 minutes and 40 seconds, but it didn't feel like that to me, man.
Yeah, it goes by quick.
It didn't feel that
because you're into it, you're sucked into the action. I mean, that's a great point. I don't think I ever put together that Paul Bearer and Hulk Hogan kind of turned their backs, within a month of each other, and those are just two guys that I just thought of that. Would never think that it was unthinkable for them to turn heel. It would not. And in your head, you're thinking it just doesn't make sense for Paul Bearer to be with anybody but the Undertaker. But as we're gonna see, they're still telling a great story here, and Paul Bearer is gonna have some really great moments and very important moments in the history of the Undertaker yet to come. And this is really, I don't want to give the writers too much credit, because I feel like I don't even think they fully knew where this story was going. But I do give them credit for taking the bold move and turning Paul Bearer and being fearless enough to do that, because it did pave the way for a lot of great stories to be told, and for the Undertaker character to go in a new direction, take him to another level, even though I don't think they fully even knew where they were going to go with it back then. I do give them credit for not playing it safe here and doing something different. And it sets up Mankind, again, huge as well. No one has ever gotten this many over on the Undertaker, has ever beaten him down this many times and gotten the victory this many times. They like to say it. They've said it with a lot of different wrestlers. Oh, Undertaker's never been beaten down this much, but this is the most, without a doubt.
We can tell you because we've only been watching Undertaker matches for the last 5 months. So, and those of you listeners have been listening to them with us and hopefully watching. But yeah, I mean, you're right. And just to kind of put a cherry on top of this evil turn, Paul Bearer hugs Mankind in the aisleway as they leave, and he looks at the camera and he says, and I don't know if this was supposed to happen or not, he goes, "I'm Paul Bearer and you're not." I don't.
What was the old Chevy Chase line, man?
Yeah, exactly. He's just a big fan, I guess. But anyway, it was cool for him to say
It's
that.
hilarious.
He's got more personality now. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But,
he is relishing it, man. He is loving it.
Yeah.
And
you've got to give Matt props. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's kind of been. I don't know. We haven't seen the same level of intensity from Paul Bearer over the past few months. I feel like he hasn't quite been into his character as much. He's kind of been bored a little bit.
Yeah.
And now, like, we're back to the old Paul Bearer. He's just relishing this heel turn, this fresh new character he's been given. JR is selling it huge. He's doing a great job.
The winner of this contest, Mankind!
This is most disturbing. As Paul Bearer looks in disdain the prone body of the Undertaker. Paul Bearer is leaving behind over 6 years a legacy, a relationship, a bond that heretofore we thought was inseparable.
Then, I had totally forgotten that this happened, but as
Me too.
as Paul Bearer and Mankind leave, Vince McMahon is saying, "Now what? What has happened?" They're selling it like the Undertaker is just dead, and then
He
gong
hasn't
hits.
moved.
He hasn't moved. He
hasn't moved in the ring again. Kudos to him. He got hit in the head, a really stiff shot with the urn, and Paul Bearer didn't pull any of that. Maybe he legit had 6 years of animosity built up. He let it out for a shoot. But anyway, Undertaker's laid in this same spot for the last whatever it is, 4 minutes or something. So the gong hits, the lights go out, and then there's that weird like Latin chanting stuff that we've come to associate with him. Is this the first time we've heard that?
No.
On our
it's like the Druid music that has been heard.
That's right.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I can't remember. I feel like it was in something else. But yeah, they've used it, throughout the years, and then the Druids come out. The Druids that IRS purchased at one point enter the arena. They just happened to be there for this match. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They just appeared.
Well, they all live in Cleveland, I guess. So.
Well, they come out and they pick up the Undertaker's body and carry him out, sort of like Jesus being carried out.
Yeah, he's in like a Christ-like pose. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Undertaker is just motionless. His body is limp. He is just gone totally stiff, and they just drag his body out of the ring and carry it all the way out of the arena in silence and in darkness.
There's a hush over the crowd at this point, man.
Yes.
Like they don't know what to think when they're not booing or throwing stuff in the ring or chanting. I mean, the microphone picks up a few little guys saying like "Go Sean" or "Vader sucks," but like other than that, the crowd as a whole is pretty hushed for this. They're just soaking in like, "Are you serious? What just happened?" So, which is cool. You don't get those actual surprise moments very much.
Yeah,
definitely not anymore. But back then, I mean, they were still few and far between. So really cool. And commentary, I don't remember. I think it's Vince who says, who would have thought such treachery could occur? And JR says that seemingly unbreakable bond has not only been broken but destroyed. So that's pretty cool. He's very hyperbolic there, but it's very, very good JR stuff. So
yeah, there's
it's
no
the
going
end of an
back.
era, man. Yeah,
it's
the end of an era.
Truly is.
Game changer. Yeah.
I feel bad for Vader and Shawn having to follow that too. I mean, that's especially the mood that the crowd is in. I guess you don't want to have that be the main event, just the way that the show ends.
Right.
You don't. It was back then. They didn't want to go out with a ending like that with the hero being carried out lifeless like that. But man, it sucks to be Vader and Shawn because the crowd is that's a tough act to follow. Tough act to follow for them. And like you said, the end of an era here on Talking Taker. We're going to pour one out for Paul Bearer and The Undertaker's relationship. Truly a sad, a tragic moment, but as you compared it to so eloquently with The Empire Strikes Back, we're entering the next chapter of The Undertaker's story, and it's going to set him up, set his character up, for an even greater journey, an even bigger journey, as we're going to see. At 6 months from now, he's going to be fighting for the world championship again and be lifted up to a new level and carry the WWF championship all throughout 1997. And it's going to be sparked from this feud, I think. It's going to lift him up into that level. So really cool, really important, really historic match. And I'm excited we finally got to it.
Oh, yeah, me too. It's been one I've been looking forward to. I hope you listeners were looking forward to it. Again, this is an iconic match. It's not a 5-star classic, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a 5-star storytelling, I'd say. The actual physicality might not be, but the story has been told for the last 4.5 months. In 1996 comes to the helm here, and it's awesome. And we're not done here yet. We got more Mankind. We got more Gold Dust.
Oh yes.
No Who. Thank God.
Thank goodness. And
although there is somebody else strange on the horizon for the Undertaker.
That's true.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It really, you said not a 5-star match, but a very influential match, I would say, especially for the WWF.
Sure.
Certainly not the first ever backstage brawl in wrestling history, but one of the first for the WWF, and it really, like I said earlier, kind of a prototype for the hardcore match style that we saw many times through the Attitude Era and even now. So definitely an influential match, a must-watch for you fans if you haven't seen it before, if you haven't seen it in a long time. I definitely recommend going out of your way to watching it. And as Travis said, this feud must continue. Man, I can't wait to talk about the night after. I watched that earlier. We're going to get to that on the next episode. There's so much going on the night after this episode. It could have its own podcast as well, just on the Raw after this. We're going to cover all that on the next episode, so come back next Friday for that. But until then, we want to hear what you thought of this episode, what you agreed with, disagreed with, what you thought of this particular match. So hit us up on Twitter at Talking Taker. Really, we want you to go. If you listen to this, you probably already follow us on Twitter, so please go like our Facebook page. We want to get our likes up over there. And I promise you're not just getting the same content back and forth. Me and Travis both, we try to put some different stuff on the Facebook page. So we're putting pictures, we're putting YouTube videos, we'll put the free-for-all that we've got of the Paul Bear's interview. We'll put that up exclusively on the Facebook page for you guys to look at if you haven't seen that. So you got to go like our Facebook page to get that.
I actually interact on Facebook. I don't have a Twitter, but I am on Facebook, and I do, Alex and I both, kind of run the show on the Facebook. So, you get different stuff from both of us, too. Like you say, it's not just a carbon copy of Twitter. So, different stuff.
We appreciate you subscribing to our iTunes or our Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Podomatic, YouTube, all that good stuff. Leave us a comment and a rating if you get a chance as well. And if you subscribe, you'll get the podcast a couple hours earlier. You get it on Thursday night when I post it up. So before the Twitter followers get it, if you're a subscriber exclusively to the podcast, you will get it a little bit earlier on Thursday night. But we'll be back here next week with In Your House Mind Games.
Oh, that's right. And if any of you were there at the Gund Arena, any of the classic moments that have been there, but specifically this one, we want to know what it was like watching this match on your substitute teacher's television on wheels.
That would be awesome. I would love
please
to hear that.
tell us what happened. Did they tell you to bring binoculars before to the show? And also, if you believe this match ultimately led to the worst wrestling game of all time, which is WCW Backstage Assault, please let us know. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. You didn't miss anything. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, those of you, we appreciate all you listening, all your subscriptions and your downloads, and take her easy.